One.
Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Today it's the 18th day of Vlogmas, but is it the 19th day of Vlogmas? It's the 19th day of Vlogmas, I think. I'm running a bit behind, I'm very naughty. And today I'm going to be going over my top 5 cookery books. So cookery is another love of mine. I'm not trained in cookery or anything like that at all. It's just a really big hobby of mine. I love cooking. I love cooking for me. I love cooking for big amounts of people. I love making toast in the morning to making massive meals, and I love going on cookery courses and things like that, and I absolutely love it. And I've got 5 of my favourite cookery books that I own. You might find that they're a little bit Jamie Oliver heavy, and then I've got one that I'm going to talk about that I'm going to cook my way through next year. So the first book I want to talk about is the new Covent Garden Food Company, A Soup for Every Day. So I think my love of cooking, I don't really know where my love of cooking come from, because my mum and dad aren't big cooks, and me and Charlotte were sort of brought up on not like roast dinners and nothing like extravagant. So I started cooking for my friends, and we used to have what we used to call soup club on a Wednesday night, and a friend used to come around, and I used to make a soup every week. And it started with a Jamie Oliver book that isn't in this pile, but a book, and I used to make the soups out of there. And then I got this for Christmas one year, and it's amazing because it's every single day of the year has a particular soup, and it's relative to what's in season at that time. So not everyone is amazing, but some of them are really, really nice. So for instance, if we're saying that today is the 19th of December, it's not. But if we're saying it is, then the soup they use today is Brussels sprout and gammon. And it takes 35 minutes, it serves 4 people, and this is what you need. And every single day is like that, and it's just a really good book. I love soups all through the year, and I love making them all the time, and they're really easy, and I like making them to take to work and things like that. So this is a perfect book for me, and that is why it's in my top 5 cookery books. The next one is Miss Dahl's Voluptuous Delights by Sophie Dahl. So this is a book that I got a few years ago. My sister bought it as a moving in present when I first moved out and moved in with a few friends, and it's really set out beautifully. So it's set out, the cover is so yellow, it's rank. I might even take the cover off. Oh look, it looks much nicer underneath. It's set out so that it is set out so that it's in seasons, and then within the seasons it's set out for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So it's really nicely set out that you can find, especially if you like cooking in season, as I do, what's in season at the time. So I've made a few things out of here, but my favourite recipe out of here, surprise, surprise, is a soup, and it is the beetroot soup, which is absolutely incredible, and you serve it with chopped eggs, which sounds really weird, but bloody works. And chances are, if you have come for dinner around my house, it's even on the back page, look at that. If you've come for dinner around my house, then I've served this to you as your first course, because I absolutely love it. David hates beetroot, and he absolutely loves it, don't you, dear?
Yes.
He's a bit drunk, he's been out. That is my second book. The third one is one that I got for Christmas last year, and that is A Girl Called Jack, 100 Delicious Budget Recipes. So Jack Monroe is a cook who the story of her life is that she got made redundant from her job and had to provide for her and her young son on a very, very small budget. And it's a really, really sad story, but it has a happy ending because she is now a famous cook and has books out. And this book is just sort of tells the story of the things she used to cook on such a shoestring budget. And it's just got some really tasty things in here for very, very little money. It's also a really nice, like, no frills book. I find some of these books are really hardback and have hundreds of pages of like pictures and no recipes. Like, this is a brilliant paperback book. I think it's £6. I think it was £6, and every single thing I've had out of here is lovely. We've had some not meatballs. That's one of the ones that I've made a few times. It's very, very nice. There's a Spanish chicken stew which we've made. Lots of risottos, and just basically making what little you may have go further. I'd really, really recommend it, particularly for students. I think this is really good. It's not marketed as a student book, but it's got some really, really cheap, good, healthy meals with some actual real life veg in it. So that's another book. So this is when we get into the Jamie Oliver section. Now, Jamie Oliver is my absolute hero. I adore him. I think he's just an amazing chef. I think he's an amazing person. The things he does in the position that he's in, I really like the fact that at the moment He wants to put a sugar tax on fizzy drinks that have sugar in, and the things he's done in the past for school dinners and stuff. I just think he's a really, really great person, and I adore him. And I love his cookbooks, and I own all of them apart from his new one. But hey, it's Christmas this week, I might be getting it. So my first one, which is the book of his that I use the most, and that is Jamie's 15-minute meals. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've made every single one of these and they only take 15 minutes. They don't take 15 minutes, but they're really quick, amazing meals to make midweek, even at the weekend. Some of my favourite meals that I've made out of here, the Swedish meatballs I made on Saturday. I picked this up. We have something out of this probably about once a week, don't we, David? Yeah. About once a week. Swedish meatballs is a really good one. What else have we had? Oh, the Thai chicken laska, which is lovely. What else? Oh, the happy cow burgers, we really like that. There's a winter squash pasta that I make all the time, and it's just really great, quick, easy food. And what I'll find as well is that the more Jamie Oliver recipes I do, the more of a sort of like a store cupboard I've built up. So I'm going to talk more about it in a moment, but like I buy a lot of his herbs that he uses in lots of recipes. You might think, oh, that's really expensive to buy a £2 tub of saffron, but you're going to use that in like 2 or 3 recipes and it's going to really make it worth it. And I just think if anyone's looking to get into cooking and for meals, not particularly for baking or for anything fancy, then this is a great place to start. And I absolutely love this book. It's my favourite book that he's ever done. It's the first one he worked with a nutritionist in, so it really is his best book. I love it. So my last book that is my favourite book, my favourite cookbook is, and this is very battered, is Jamie Oliver's Jamie's Great Britain. So as you can see, this is a really battered one, which I think is great. I think if you've got a cookbook and it's just pristine on the shelf, then you're obviously not using it enough. This is a battered cookbook. Look at all those pages I've turned over. So last year, I decided as my New Year's resolution at the beginning of 2014 that I would pick one of my cookbooks and cook my entire way through it. So this was a cookbook I got for my birthday a fair few years ago, and I'd always looked through it and thought, oh my God, that looks amazing, and never cooked one thing from it. So last year I decided to cook my way through it, and I really almost did it. I did something like 93% of the book. And what I love to do, and I mentioned this in my time and place book tag, is that I can always remember, so I can flick anywhere in here. So all the ones with the pages turned over are ones that I've cooked. So Queen Victoria sponge, I remember making that because I made it for my book club at work and I took it in and we all enjoyed it on one book club. The next one, let's just pick anyone. Oh, that was very early. So crispy roasted fish cakes. This was one of the, I think this was like the 5th or 6th thing I made, and I made that for my mum, dad, and my boyfriend when he came round. I was still living at home when I made that. And it's just full of memories for me, and it's just a brilliant book. It focuses on things that are sourced or in Great Britain, and it's just got some really fancy stuff in there, some really simple stuff. It's got breakfast, soups. It's all set out into chunks. So you've got your chunk of breakfast, a chunk of soups, afternoon tea, so bacon's in there. It's got Sunday dinner, and it's just a really cool book, and it's just beautiful as well. Like the pictures are really nice. I love all the font and everything. And when I look through it, it is like it's just like a memory book to me, because I just remember all the places that I was when I cooked these things, and there's still some things now that I revisit. But yeah, I was looking through it today thinking, oh, I absolutely love this book, and I've just turned to that minted courgette soup. I made that on New Year's Day, so the very first day that I started this, I made this on New Year's Day for my family, my nans, and all of that lot. So yeah, that is my 5th one. So just saying that I cooked my way through Jamie's Great Britain in 2014. I did try to cook my way through Save with Jamie in 2015. And I got on quite well, but around June when I started BookTube, I unfortunately gave up because I just become so tied up in other things. My cousin opened a cafe and I spent quite a lot of time there, and working, not just eating. And things just got a bit tied up, so I unfortunately abandoned it. But next year I am going to be doing, and this is the same story as a Jamie book that I've never really made much out of, and it's Jamie's 30-minute meals. And in this book there are 52, I think it's 52, it might even be 50. There's around 50 recipes, which means one a week, and I cook from scratch pretty much every night, so I can find one night a week when I am able to cook this. So this year, so in 2016, I'm going to be cooking one recipe a week from Jamie's 30-minute meals, and it's just such a fun thing to do. And you taste things you've never tasted before, you make things you've never made before, and you have something different every week. I think it's so easy to get stuck into the sort of slump of, oh, we'll have spaghetti bolognese on a Monday, we'll have this on a Tuesday, Wednesday we'll have an oven dinner, Friday we'll have an omelette, then the weekend we'll have takeaway. Like, when I was cooking from Jamie's Great Britain, I was having amazing dinners like every single night, and I really discovered a love for cooking, which unfortunately in this sort of the second half of this year, where David and I have been so busy, haven't been able to do that. So I'm really looking forward to cooking a recipe a week from Jamie's 30-minute meals, and I will keep you updated on this channel and let you know how everything's going. So those are my 5 favourite cooking books from well, that I've used this year or just forever. What are your favourite cookery books? Do you all like Jamie Oliver as much as I do? Probably not, because I love him so much. And thank you very much to Laura, who suggested me to do this video. And I will see you all again tomorrow with another Vlogmas video.